paid and approved. My name is Nicole Lawson, aka Nicolyboo. Check one, check two. And I'm coming to you live from New Jersey. I have to apologize a little bit for the blank walls, but you guys didn't come here to hear my walls. If you're staying on the live, you're staying because you actually want to hear what I have to say. So I hope you get the message in the middle of moving things around in the house. So anyway, I just wanted to share something with you. First of all, this live is more so for ladies who may still feel overlooked, maybe cast down, shut up. You may not feel like you're in your power. You may have suffered with abuse, as I used to. If you are already, living your best life, walking in your full authority, this is not for you. But I would appreciate your support and maybe sharing this or tagging some ladies that may hear the message from me. That you know how it goes when people are really, really comfortable with you. Sometimes they don't necessarily hear what you have to say, although it's just as valuable. Sometimes it's better for them to receive it somewhere else. So if that's the case, and you're staying and supporting and sharing this, then thank you. So I am a single mompreneur of 4. I am a singer. I'm an author. I'm an actor. I actually just created a new book that is for pre-order, and I'll make sure I put a link right now in the comments. That book is called Record of Wrong. But what I wanted to share, I'm supposed to drop that link there. Okay, bam, bam, bam. Let me go up here and delete my auto text that was not correct. But I just I had a thought, so I wanted to share it with some of you. If it resonates with you, then great. If it's for you, it's for you. So there are 3 things that I did, and I would say in my last 5 to close, I'd say 5 years of my 40 years of life. Just turned 40. Hey, happy birthday to me. So in my last 5 years of life, these are 3 things that I really got intentional about doing to unfuck myself. I hope it's okay to use that word. If not, a moderator or somebody put it in the comments and I'll stop saying it. Okay. So 3 things that I did to unfuck myself. Number 1, I leaned, that church thing. I grew up in church, and there's a song and everything else that says lean not into your own understanding. Well, the first thing I started doing more of was leaning more into my own understanding, and I'll break it down in a minute. Number 2 was I decentered men. I know that if you got any pick-me-sha left in your spirit, then that is going to upset you. And I hope that you can sit with that level of uncomfortability while I talk a little bit more about that in a second. And number 3 is I got self-full. You can call it selfish if you want to. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I got self-full, selfish, self-centered, whatever you want to call it. I decided I am the goddess of my life. And I'm not centering everybody else's wants and needs, and especially men, because that's how I was raised and I was, kind of brought up to be. Now I am making myself the center of my life. I am the supplier of so many things, and everything needs to revolve around its supply. The supply, me, the queen bee, the queen mother. I am self-full. So a little bit of the backstory as to what got me to this place that I'm at now. Unfortunately, I was raised by a narcissistic father. Some of the typical black male preacher trope, I lived a lot of that. Do I still love my father? Absolutely. Do I forgive him? Wholeheartedly. And it took a long time to get to that place. However, just because you forgive somebody does not mean you have to condone or accept or shrug off or say, oh, it's okay, that's just the way he is. Fuck that. Tell the truth. Tell the truth and shame them devils. I had for me, a lot of my upbringing was horrible. It was very hurtful. And the abuse that I suffered by his tongue, which was a sword to me the majority of my life, and by his hand that he used, that he raised against me. I would say from my preteen years all the way up until the end of my teen years. I mean, all the way up until I was 18, and then after that, I wasn't having it no more. So he knew better. But yes, the hand and the tongue that he raised against me, it conditioned me, and it taught me things. It taught me to make men God in my life that I must fear. I must cater to their emotions and things like that. And then it also trickled into my relationships, my second marriage, the boyfriends that I had, even some things in the first marriage. 2 divorces, 4 children. 2 divorces, 4 children was the outcome of a lot of abuse. One of the worst experiences I had was a couple years ago, 2017, when one of the last boyfriends that I dated. And I thought he was, just amazing. And he's still to this day, he's so, what's the word? Celebrated. He's so celebrated in the city that he lives in. And he's got people that listen to him on the radio and everything. And there's still people to this day who refuse to believe. But that's what happens. in these situations, which is why a lot of victims don't speak up, because there's so many people who refuse to even see a person for the monster that they are. This man, when I told him that I was going to leave him, the first time I seriously told him I was going to leave him, he tried to kill me. I just remember waking up, and I don't even know how long I was unconscious, and I think he thought I was dead, because I woke up to the sound of him screaming and cowering in another room at what he thought he had did. And it wasn't screaming and cowering because he was remorseful. It was screaming and cowering because he was concerned about himself and his own repercussions for what he thought he did. And that's another story I tell another time. You guys can go to my YouTube and listen to some of those stories about that on my website if you want to, or if you need to hear more about that. So anyway, I say this because that was one of the lowest places of my life, waking up not knowing if I was dead or alive, totally bewildered, and an immense amount of pain. I'm talking about, I gave birth to 4 babies. 3 of those babies were with no medicine. I did natural childbirth and labor, and the pain that I felt was worse than that. Radiating from my head. My head was cracked, you guys. He cracked my jaw on both sides. I had 9 stitches in my face. By the grace of God, you can't tell now, and that's I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful that I survived. And coming out of that, I hate that it took all of that, but whatever, I can't change any of that. But what I can do is change the trajectory of my life going forward after that. And it took some time to get into that place. I had to really separate myself really from everything and everyone that caused me so much pain, and that also I felt was stripping me of my power. So once I was able to remove myself from just a lot of toxicity and things like that, and be okay with being afraid, being by myself, just me and my babies, that's when I was able to get to these 3 decisions that I've been living over the past 5 years. So the 3 things that I did to totally unfuck myself. Number 1, lean more into my own understanding. In church and other places you say, lean not to thine own understanding, and there is validity in that. However, we as women, especially Black women, we are born with a God-given intuition. We are the queen mothers. All of humanity came from where? From us. From us. There's a reason why wisdom and stuff is referred to as a woman and not a man. There is something that we have in our XY. Let me make sure I say it right. In our XX chromosome, not XY. There is something in our chromosome that allows us to create literally everything. We make people. And that is not who we are literally walking divine order and divine wisdom, but you have to really, really trust that. You know how you get a feeling about something and the spidey sense is like, something ain't right. You don't need physical evidence of that. I had to really train myself to really trust my gut. And the few times in life I look back and I saw the examples of the times that I actually really trusted my gut. Wait a minute. But I trusted my gut the few times I did. It was scary and it made no sense outwardly, but one of those times it saved my baby's life. Quick story time about that. My oldest, she's 18 now on her way to college, but when she was a toddler, the first husband and I, we divorced, and he was getting ready to, I guess she was lower elementary school age, he was getting ready to marry his second wife, and he broke a lot of our protocols and a lot of our agreements around that time, and I didn't like that. And when he was getting ready to have somebody else drive 2 states over to pick my baby girl up, and then her ride back up to where he was for the wedding, I really grappled with it because we were friends and I didn't want to look bad, but something in my gut kept saying no, tell him no. Either he comes to get her like he usually does, or he makes arrangements that, first of all, his frat brother, I knew his frat brother that was going to pick her up, but she didn't know him at all. There were just several things. From the outside looking in, it was kind of like, okay, he made proper arrangements. Her grandmother's going to ride with her. What's the problem? So I had a really, really, really hard time, and I did not listen. And at first it was a whisper, and then it was like more of a knock on the door. And then it was almost like a shake, like the night before, like shaking me out of my sleep. And it was like I heard the ancestors saying, little girl, didn't I tell you say no? So I said no. And I looked like the typical baby mama bitch, jealous that he's getting remarried. And it was none of that. Let me tell you guys, later on that day, I saw a Facebook post. And this is after I got the vitriol and the hate messages from some of his frat brothers and other things like that. That you're wrong for this. You're wrong for this, not letting your daughter come to the wedding. And it's not that I would not let her go, but it was just the arrangements that were made. Something just was not right. Something was not right. And I said it several times. Later on that day, I saw a Facebook post. The frat brother that was supposed to take her, he got into a car accident somewhere between the second stayed in the third. He got into a car accident and his car was totaled on the way to the wedding. And guess where the majority of that damage was? The back seat. Guess who would have been the most vulnerable person in that situation in that car? And she would have been traumatized, or even worse, killed by that car accident, because she would have been in that car. My baby. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna let that sit there. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. Don't let the ex that used to put his hands on me and that beat me. He would say, your intuition isn't shit. Your intuition ain't shit. He would try to drive that into me, like almost like a sermon, because he really wanted me to believe that, because he needed me to believe that my intuition was broken and it was nothing, so that he can keep gaslighting me and abusing me and verbally and mentally, physically cheating on me, trying to bring me back. Thank God I never got a disease from him. But I would notice even down there, some things would be off after being intimate with him. Why is that? Because he was fucking around in the streets. Okay, lean more into your own understanding, as in trust your gut. You have a deeper understanding inside of you, and when you trust that, oh my God, the way that it saves you every single time and helps you make wise decisions from a place that is beyond you. Now, the other side of that, it does not mean that you should neglect wise counsel. If you believe in the Bible and sacred scriptures, there's a scripture that says that plans fail for a lack of wise counsel. This doesn't mean get rid of it. By all means, we should have our own personal board of directors. It's very important. That is very important. But also trust your gut. Trust your God-given third eye knowledge, and allow it to have its place. Allow that presence to have a seat at your table of your personal board of directors. So number 2, decentered men. This was especially hard for me, and I'm still grappling with that right now. Am I in a relationship? Absolutely. Should that relationship be the center of my life? Absolutely fucking not. Decenter men. I'm 40 years old, so my entire life I've been told, from before even elementary school, that ain't nobody gonna want you. No man's gonna want you if no man's gonna. Who the fuck cares? Who cares what they want? And guess what? I can have my wig off and have my BDBs. I cut all my hair down to almost to the core to start. I could be in the grocery store right now with this tank top on, these long socks I got on, and these shorts that don't even match. In the grocery store, going to pick up some stuff, and it's happened. No makeup, no jewelry, BDBs in my hair, some raggedy flip-flops on, if I wanted to, and there's still always going to be one of them checking for me. Okay, whatever. Decenter them. It doesn't matter what they want. What they want and what they need is not first. It is not first. We live in a very patriarchal society that is still, we've got our rights. When I was born, we as women didn't have a lot of rights. We could not even have our own bank accounts, which is why we needed their name. We had to have their name, and we had to have them in their house for protection and for other things. Nowadays, I don't need you to kill bugs. I don't need you to do this and that. And if you don't want to, and you withhold that, because a lot of them will, in order to try to, or use their peen as a weapon, or take away, certain things as a weapon to try to to try to keep you in your place. We got Fiverr. We got all kinds of stuff. Men do not have to be the center of your life. Am I saying hate them? Absolutely not. They have their place. They have their place. For some of us, it may just be that all they can do is work for us. I don't know. For some, you might be addicted to one for good sex, or maybe you're lucky enough to have one. I kind of feel like if a man is not full of toxic masculinity, if he doesn't almost hate women, even if he doesn't reveal it to you for a long time, you got a unicorn. You got a unicorn. I am of the mindset of Princella more and more, I must say. I don't think that most of them are fully capable of actually loving, leading, protecting, and providing. And that's me. You don't have to adopt that. But I think that you don't need to center them. You don't need to make them the center of your life and the center of your world, and tiptoe around their emotions, tiptoe around their feelings. Or, I've watched, and this still breaks my heart thinking about this. My mother taught me so many amazing things, and she's such a phenomenal, beautiful woman. She's a beautiful Z. I call her a Z kitty because she's a Zeta, and she is very much a kitty cat. Very much a kitty cat. When she talks and when she sings, she purrs. I mean, the divine femininity that oozes out of her when she's in the right position to shine is freaking amazing. So shout out to my mama, Michelle. McKelly. She taught me how to sing. She's got a beautiful voice and she's an amazing storyteller. And, she's living the life that she chose, and it is what it is. And you can always want more for other people. And that's that. So I'm trying to keep that part of what I want to say subdued. But I will say this. I grew up, she told me growing up many times, and she would recount this story a lot, about how she was a professional singer here in New Jersey, a professional gospel singer, but she gave it up. She said she gave it up because one of the producers was stealing money. But she would also talk about how hard it was to be a mother and to be a professional singer and a wife. And not only is she a wife, she's also a preacher's wife. And she is married to a black man that, as far as growing up with him, my whole life, he never conquered his demons. So she packed away her lights. She packed away her star, so that it would not be a problem for her relationship with him. She prioritized her relationship with him, taking care of him, supporting him, pubbing him, being his publicist, making him look better than he deserved in front of other people, making excuses for his toxicity and all that. That's the life that I lived. That's what I learned. Growing up. Is that for everybody? No. But again, this is for people who can relate to that. I want to help you free yourself from that bullshit, because it took me a long time, and it doesn't have to take you. And I want you to know that you're not alone if you lived with some of those things as well. So yes, decentering men, decentering. I remember one time when my mother joined her sorority. I think I was just fresh out the house in college. She started getting her degrees when I was in my 20s, and I would watch him, and I would watch his reaction to it. It was of disgust. He was jealous of her. He was so sick of her, always doing her. Yeah, listen, y'all heifers better not try to jump on me just because I did that, okay? I'm not here for it. But when she would do that little Z Kitty call, or whatever, I call it Z Kitty, and Z fine, just excited and so full of just life. I hadn't seen, there's very few times I saw my mother stepping into her star, and that was one of those times. And when I would see her, singing somewhere else or speaking somewhere else outside of just my dad's pulpit, and in those moments, I don't know what it is now, but in those moments when she was doing it, when I was around her, he would roll his eyes, he would suck his teeth, say demeaning things. Listen, if you have men in your life that make jokes, that put you down, that feel like they need to make a joke about your ambitions and all those type of things, decenter, delete. How about that? And I don't mean delete as in the illegal way. I mean like delete them out your life, not delete their life, okay? Reel it back in. But delete them out your life. And if you cannot, decenter their asses, okay? Decenter them. You need to be the center, and that's number 3. I decided I was going to become self-full. I don't care how uncomfortable it makes the men around me feel anymore, because they all do what? I'm the source. Women are the source of everything they need to survive. Sex, washing their dirty ass drawers, creating a home, being, even if it's someone you're not intimately involved in. How many times have you had a boss or a friend or a brother or a cousin want to talk to you because of that queen mother energy, and pick your brain or come to you for solace? We provide everything that they need, like literally everything, including their life, because we make those people. So why is it that we actually are the center? Because everything they do revolves around us, but we center them instead of. I had to become self-full. I had to flip that. It made no sense. If I'm the source, I need to be first. I need to be first. I need to be self-full, self-fit, self-centered, whatever you want to call it. I like to use the term self-full. That's my favorite term out of all of them, but I don't care which one you use. Pick one and run with it. I had to put me first. I cannot show up the best for my children. I cannot show up the best for myself first. I can't show up the best for my boyfriend, or whoever, and other people, if I am not making sure that I am self-full and I'm always taking care of my needs and my wants first. Okay, that's what you want. That's what's up. But did I get what I want first? Everything about me needs to be good first. If mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. There's something to that. And a lot of men hate that term, but oh well. We're literally designed to be receptacles and to receive. And to receive the right things. And I think it starts with, I've come to believe that it starts with what I give myself first. So that's it. Almost 20 minutes exactly. Those are the 3 things that I really, it sounds so simple, but it can be so hard depending on who you are in the moment. So those are the 3 things. And those are the three, I would say almost, there's other things, but those are some of the three main foundations of my life that has really helped me to get to a place of peace, a place of personal power. And as long as I'm sticking to those three things, then my life is properly aligned, and consequently, my children's life is properly aligned as well. So I wrote a book. It's called Record of Wrong. I would really appreciate your support going to recordofwrongbook.com and pre-ordering the book. There is a free download, and that download is jam-packed juicy. Let me tell you, there's also a YouTube video series where I had just begun telling my stories. I got to a place to where it was like, why am I being silent and protecting all these other people and protecting their sensibilities and their reputations and feelings? Why? They didn't give a shit about protecting my reputation, my sensibilities, my feelings when they did the things that they did that ruined my life. The way they ruined my life, I had to create a whole new one because that one was ruined. It was broken. You know, a lot of terrible things were done to me. Almost my entire life. I've been on this earth for 40 years, and at least 35 of those years, I suffered. And a lot of that was not my fault. And so I got to a place to where I stopped blaming myself for it, and I stopped allowing myself to be shut up about it, to try to keep other people's reputations and make them feel good and stuff. And once I did that, baby, it's like the doors and the windows and everything metaphysically opened up for me. And I put myself in a place of peace, of power, of provision. It's a lonely road. I will say that it is a lonely road for a moment. But you're really not alone. You're not alone. The right people, the right resources, the right help, the right guidance, the right places that you need to be. Everything opens up once you decide to do those three things: lean more into your own understanding, trust your gut, and get decentrum, get very self-full. And that put me in the place to where I could write this book, Record of Wrong. This project is very near and dear to my heart because I've sat on it for so many years, and now it is time to do it. This book is chain breaking. It tells my story, but it doesn't just tell my story and call out, and yeah, the hell it does, the things that were done to me and who did it. And I think that, again, there's a scripture that talks about being overcome by the blood of the Lamb, but what's the other part of that? And the word of our testimony. That is something that I think in our community, as in our Black community and the Black families, there's not enough of that. The word of our testimony. You cannot be overcome unless you have that part. So I decided I was going to stand in my truth and not let anybody else tell my story. I'm telling it for my damn self. And I'm going to overcome and bring myself out by the word of my own testimony. So it is in that book. And I talk about, the actions that I took that were very scared, but they were very bold. And a lot of women are afraid to take these actions and to do these things, to unfuck themselves, to free themselves. And so if that is you, or if you know someone who needs to see this or that needs to read the book as well, then please direct them to this. You can send me an inbox and I'd be happy to send them a free download or have a quick chat with them. I would love to be in a place where very soon I can give away free copies of the book as well. But either way it goes, I appreciate your support. If this resonated with you, then go to recordofwrongbook.com, pre-order that book. It comes in a couple of different options, digital all the way to hardcover with or without signature. And at the end of the day, I am here. I'm here for a couple of things. One of those things, of course, is for my personal vision for me and my children, and also for my vision to allow myself to be shown as a victor, not a victim, and to hopefully convince and to show other women and to help them, to give them permission to be the same as well. You're living the life of your dreams. So in this moment and in every moment, you're living the life of your dreams. So dream bigger, reject whatever's beneath that, and go wholeheartedly toward the life, what you want. At the end, every day, your decisions are creating your lifestyle. All right, you guys, bye-bye. Much love. And I appreciate the vision of this group, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to all of you as well. So God bless Black girls in luxury. Bye-bye.